Hey, Sean Sievert here with Richview Multimedia. In this video, I'm going to go over how I get a solid 808 by some simple EQ and compression. When it comes to recording and mixing hip hop, rap, R&B, one of the biggest things where you get a lot of feeling from your song is going to come from your bass line or your 808. If you don't have a solid 808 or a solid bass line, you're going to lose a lot of feeling in your mix. So it's very crucial that you properly EQ and do light compression on your bass just to get that solid feel across your entire mix. In this video, I'm mainly going to focus on the EQ and the compression of the 808 and the bass just to show you how to get a solid foundation. Okay, so this is a song called Hollow by my friend Quaisian, which is also the brother of Kylan, which you've heard me do on other videos. So I've got the 808 right here at the top. I went ahead and organized my song. Just like you see in the previous video, I did some gain staging, and if you look over here at the numbers, they're all at -18, so everything's at unison. Great start for your mix. But anyways, we're gonna get into just the 808. All right, so we're gonna start with the FabFilter Pro Q3 here. I've already got my frequencies set. The first thing that I do is I do a low cut here. Let me just turn this on. So I just low cut around 15. What this is gonna do is just kind of take out some of the artifacts. I'm gonna play you a bypass here and just let you hear what the 808 sounds like. So as you can hear, there's some high end in this 808. In this particular song, that's not really going to be needed, and it's not really going to help much because there's a lot of high-end melodies in this song, guitars, pianos, drums, you know, melodies that just really fill up that high end. I'm gonna play the song. It's completely unmixed. The only thing that's been done is I've done my gain staging, so everything's gain staged at -18, but I just want to let you hear all the sounds in it. So you can hear a lot of high end, you hear little bells, this vocal, chants, guitars, pianos, there's a lot of that. So my main goal with this song is going to get the 808 to have a solid feeling, a real solid foundation to where you can actually feel the 808 more so than actually hear the buzzing of it. So the first thing that I do the low cut, and then I'm gonna do a bell here and find a good solid frequency that I like with the 808. All right, just turn that on. So here again, bypassed. So after sweeping, I found that this 53.144, I just kind of swept back and forth and found it was a really good solid where I got a really good like kind of boom from it, good solid bass. I could feel it in my ears. So that was the start. The next thing that I do is I go in, and since I don't need all that high end, I'm gonna do a high cut. But I'm not gonna completely kill the high end. I'm gonna actually kind of roll it off a little bit just so it kind of gives that, you can hear it's there, but it's not gonna be really interfering with the other high end frequencies. Without it. So I didn't completely kill it, but at the same time, it's not giving that buzzing in the high end, and it's not going to interfere with those frequencies. The next thing that I did with the Pro Q8 was I listened for frequencies that were kind of muddy, some that just sounded like they just don't need to be in there. And the first one was this frequency here, is around 152. I'll pump it up so you can hear it. Oh, this is the compressor. Yeah, this is it's kind of like a muddy sound. Kind of pulled that out a little bit. Pulled down on the compression of the Pro Q3. I did the same thing with this frequency here. This is kind of like a nasty sound. Pulled it out of it. So here's the bypass. So what I've done so far is create a solid foundation for my 808. And if you look here, you can see it's hitting at negative 13.4 now. That's coming from our boost right there at the low end, because it was hitting at negative 18 after the gain stage. So we've already added 4.6 dB. The next thing that I do is I go onto another EQ. I love using the 1073 on my basses. On bass and 808, it's just so solid. It's got such a solid low end. I actually have the 1073 EQ hardware, which more than likely I'm probably going to go back in and run it through, but I'm just showing you the software version. The 1073 SPX on 808s is just crazy how much it cranks the bass and just gives it such a solid foundation. But the UAD 1073 does a great job too. If you don't have UAD and you use Waves and you have the Shep 73, that's also a 1073 model plugin, so you can use something like that. So let's get started here. I'm gonna just start with around 35 and just see what 35 Hertz sounds like when we boost it. Definitely get more feeling out of 60, so I'm gonna go with 60. All right, so let's bypass everything and see how it sounds without any plugins. I mean, that's cranking. I'm gonna pull it down just a little bit. All right, so the next thing that I do is I run my basses. I have them colored here. This is a bass line right here that's gonna end up EQ'd. It's gonna have two-part EQs because I'm gonna have one where I'll actually roll out that low end, you know, that the 808's hitting at. And then actually where the 808 disappears, I'm probably gonna bring that low end back into that bass line there so you can feel it more when the 808 disappears. But anyways, so what I end up doing is I actually have a bass bus and I run it to the bass bus, which goes in down here. Get back to the 808 here. So I went ahead and brought my bass bus up here. So I run it through the bass bus. And now, generally with my buses, all my aux tracks, what I like to do is have a channel strip. I have been very into the Amic 9099 channel strip. It's just a solid channel strip. I like to have it on all of my aux tracks. And so I use my volume control via the channel strip. So what I like to do on here is just listen first. And I'm gonna start to affect the low end. I mean, that's cranking now. A little too much once it gets that low range. And so what I'm actually going to do, so now that I have the 3 EQs, I hear some different adjustments I want to do. I want to bring down the 50 here, the swell on that. Let's bring that down a little bit. I'm going to bring down the 1073 just a little bit. And now I'm going to go into some compression. With bass, I don't like to do a lot of compression. A lot of times I do like 1.5, sometimes a 2. I'll do 1.5, and I'm gonna do a slow release. When you do a fast release on 808, what happens is the compressor tries to catch the 808 too much, and that's where you can start getting some weird like distortion almost. It's not really distortion, but it's kind of like a weird rumbling because the compressor's like trying to release it, and it struggles. So I kind of do like a slow attack and a slow release when it comes to compression, and I even do just a very, very light compression to catch it. we can see right here is where our compression will be. And then we can do some makeup gain. See where our peak is hitting. I'm gonna pump it up just a little bit more. So let's listen to the whole bass line with no plugins, and then let's enable it and see the difference. So no plugins first. So let's listen to the bass with no plugins. I'm actually going to gain stage it up to -8.4 where we've seen it hitting, so that we can hear the difference of with the plugins and without the plugins, but at the same level match. Okay, so no plugins. And with plugins. So you can definitely hear a big difference there. I did level match and gain stage so that you can hear the difference between without plugins and with it. You get a much bigger low end when it comes to the plugins and the adjustments that we made with the EQ and compression, and it's something that I really like. Now, when it comes to mixing, as I'm mixing this song, as I'm going through the instruments, throughout the entire mix, there's gonna be times where I go back in and maybe adjust the EQ. Probably won't adjust too much of the compression. I always do a very light compression on the 808. If any at all, like very, very light. But there will be some adjustments made maybe to the EQ, to the volume and everything. So this is just getting the foundation set, getting a good solid 808 to mix around. Now in this song, I am starting with the 808. This is the first point of mixing in this song for me. So I'm gonna be basing my mix around the 808 just to start. And then as I get everything where I want it to be, there's gonna be a lot of level adjustment and mixing involved. I really wanted to keep this tutorial very sweet and simple and short. I didn't want to get into too much. I just mainly wanted to focus on the EQ compression on the 808 and getting a good solid 808. So if you have any questions, please leave them down in the comments and I'll definitely answer them as soon as possible. If you have any specific requests of videos or tutorials you'd like me to make, also leave those in the comments. Be sure to like, subscribe, and hit the bell. I appreciate you for tuning in. I hope you have a great day and God bless.